What is up, you guys? How are you guys doing? We're on a Monday. Hey, it seems weird. Well, I'm glad we didn't do it yesterday. I'm glad we switched the time to Mondays now. Because if we had done it yesterday, I believe, so we had a power outage yesterday. So in the middle of the live stream, it would have gone down. Yeah, so I'm glad we did it today. What's up, Dee Dee? What's up, Petri? Hey, Katie, how you doing? Hey, EJ. What's up, EJ? Bigfoot, you changed your name. How's it going? Hey, Audra. Nice of you to join. Call you Michael. Hey, Michael. What's up, Michael? How's it going? Darter 9000. What's up, Darter? Hey, Losh. Drunk Duck. How you doing? Just some guy. What's up? All right. So it's a new book. New book today. This is your favorite novel? Awesome. Before we get to that, have you guys seen Dune? Has anyone seen Dune? The Dune movie? The new one? It's so good. It's so good. I won't spoil anything. There's not that much to spoil, I guess, but I won't spoil anything. But it's really good. I can talk about the music. The visuals are excellent, right? The visuals are awesome. There's that one scene with the Baron where he rises up into the air. So I read the book before, okay? So I know what I already know what happens. There's that one scene with the Baron where he rises up in the air and his robe is all like draping down on the ground. It's so awesome. So good. You've been thinking about watching it with a friend? Oh, Freddie, you watched it? Yeah, it's awesome. It's very close to the book. I believe the director really likes the original Dune books, so he's a big fan. So I think he's staying really close to the book, which is good. Yeah, the music is good because it's made by Hans Zimmer, and it's the typical Hans Zimmer things, but he also adds in like little like other instruments that I don't think he's used before, or at least I've never heard him use before. There's one scene where I think they just landed on Dune, and then music's playing, and then there's this guy with the bagpipe randomly comes out, and he's playing a bagpipe. Like, what the hell? Which is awesome. It's awesome. It didn't seem to match the futuristic setting, but anyway, I think it was pretty cool. Yeah. The only thing with the Dune movie is that I'm not sure that newbies will understand all the names and references and stuff. Yeah, I don't know if they explained too much. Like, I don't know if they explained how this is the universe that runs on spice. So spice is the stuff that you find on the planet Dune, right? And it only grows on there, and it basically runs their entire empire, right? Because like people needed to navigate space. Yeah, so without that, their spaceships don't work, I believe. So without their spaceships, then their empire doesn't work. So I'm not sure they explained that. Maybe they explained that at the beginning. Your friend has been struggling through the novel before. Yeah, the thing with the book is that it's very introspective. There's a lot of internal dialogue that goes on with the main character. So if you're not into that, maybe you're not into the book. Oh, the ship designs are really good. The really original ship designs. I've never seen spaceships in other movies like this, so I really appreciated that. Anyways, Yeah, I'm a big fan of the movie and the book. Okay, I do have some chips that I'm gonna eat. There you go. Hello. This is pizza flavored potato chips. Let's go. I like chips. I like pizzas. Probably gonna like this. Hmm. Hmm. It tastes pretty cheesy. Has a very strong pizza taste. Very strong pepperoni taste. Oh no, Bigfoot, you lost your account? Ah, crap, that sucks. How did you lose it? What's up, Catherine? You're still catching up on the old book? It's alright, just start the new one. This is fine. Oh, the goldfish pizza flavor? That's good too. Yeah, I love that. Alright, so new novel, you guys, new novel. What is this novel about? What is this novel about? So it's called Demi-Gods and Semi-Devils, okay? Or in Chinese, 金龙八部. Thank you very much. So it means so why is it called demigod? Wait, what is it? Why is it called Demi-Gods and Semi-Devils? So it kind of has to do with it's a Buddhist thing, right? There are 8 races of these gods and devils, I guess, that are supposed to protect the Buddhist teachings. They're called the 8 legions. Okay, it's a Buddhist thing. So apparently, when the author was first writing this, he wanted to be like each major character was supposed to be based on one of the races. I think but the author abandoned that as the book went on because I guess the story got too complicated and that was like too simplistic for him. So I stopped doing that. But that was the origin of the title of the book. But so what is this book about? So if you remember the previous book, Smiling Proud Wanderer, it was about it was basically about good and evil, right? The theme is good and evil, what it means to be good, what it means to be evil. Um, people within on the good side can be evil, people on the evil side can be good, things like that. This one, Demi-Gods and Semi-Devils, is about, I think, it's about duty, right? So everyone has duty to different things in their lives, right? So you may have a duty to your family, to your country, to your religion, whatever, right? Um, so everyone has duties to different things, but what happens when your duties conflict, right? What happens when, in order to serve your country, you have to violate your duty with your parents, right? Or your family, or whatever. Okay? What happens then, right? What do you choose? Which is more important? Things like that. So in the course of the story, the main characters all have to face these decisions where their duties conflict, and we get to see what they choose, right? That's basically what the story is about. The setting is it's set in the Song Dynasty. Let's see. What's up, Ridley? Thank you so much. Hold on. It's set in the Song Dynasty. There you go. So somewhere within this time frame. And then it's set in the Song Dynasty, but we get to see the some of the surrounding countries too. Like I think we get to see Dali and Liao and a bunch of other ones. So yeah, there's a lot of themes on what it means to be a person of another country. What does it mean to belong to one country versus another? There's a lot of that stuff too. Yeah. Right. So it's a song that it's in the Song Dynasty. The thing with this translation, I'm using a translation that there are a lot of translators, right? I think we go through like 10 translators in this one book. So the problem with that is that we may have varying degrees of quality to the translations, and we may see different names for like moves and sects and all this stuff and names. So we may see different names for different things. So yeah, can't help it. Unfortunately, that's the case. All right. You guys ready? Oh, another thing with the chapter names. So apparently each chapter is named each chapter is like a line in a poem, right? And together all the chapters they make up an entire poem. So if you read all the chapter titles, it's a whole poem. Yeah. He's creative like that, I guess. Also, one other thing, there are 50 chapters in this story. Right? If you remember, back in Smiling Proud Wanderer, we had what 70 something chapters, 71 chapters. This one has 50 chapters. However, the chapters are really long. This entire book is like 30% longer than Smiling Proud Wanderer. So it's a huge book. All right. So each chapter is huge. I think we're gonna have to cut the chapters down. So every episode, we're gonna have to cut the chapters. I'm just gonna read half of the chapter, okay? So we're gonna do half of a chapter every week. Right? So even though there's 50 chapters, there'll be 100 episodes, I think. Make it bigger? Oh, I can do that. How do I close this sidebar? Oh. How do I close this thing? What the hell? Maybe I need this in a PDF. All right, so we'll read like half of this chapter today. Okay, chapter 1. Righteous Scholar traveled the perilous peak. Right. I guess the translator put in another alternate title. Adventures in the Mountains. Okay, you guys ready? Do this. A flash of green, a dark green sword is thrusted out, pointing right at the left shoulder of a middle-aged man. The young man with the sword in his hand didn't wait for the move to grow old, before suddenly tilting the sword sideways as the blade swipes towards the right shoulder of the middle-aged man. So it looks like there are two people fighting, a young man and a middle-aged man. Okay, two people. The middle-aged man holds up his sword to parry. Tsung! The two swords meet. Each individual sword vibrates, creating a slight hum. The humming did not stop before the flashes began again. Another 3 moves have been exchanged. Suddenly, the middle-aged man's sword sliced straight down, heading towards the young man's forehead. The young man stepped to his right to dodge the blow, while leading his opponent's sword on leading his opponent's sword on with his left hand, and then the green sword is thrusted towards the thighs of the middle-aged man. Both fighters are quick as a flash, fighting with all of their skills. On the east side of the atrium, there sat two people. One is a Taoist nun of about 40 years of age, face as cold as iron, mouth closed shut. The other is an old man, a bit over 50, stroking his beard with his right hand, face full of pride. They are seated about 2 meters apart. Behind each stood about 20 or so male and female disciples. The west side is occupied by about 10 guests. Everyone's complete attention is on the two people fighting in the middle of the atrium. All right, so these two guys are fighting in the middle, and a bunch of people are sitting watching. You think the translator already seems better? Yeah, maybe a little bit. I already see like a bunch of tense changes, right? In the same sentence, sometimes he uses the present tense, and sometimes he uses the past tense. I'm seeing a lot of that. Oh well. Okay, we'll move past it. The fight has gone on for about 70 exchanges now. The moves keep on getting faster and tighter, but no winner has emerged yet. Suddenly, the middle-aged man thrusts his sword out again with great force, too much force, and he started to teeter as if he was going to fall. A young man wearing green in the west of the atrium couldn't help but let out a little laugh. However, he immediately realized that it was very out of place and quickly covered his mouth with his hand. I'm a perfectionist? What? I think tense changes are like a basic thing, right? With grammar, you're not supposed to change your tenses. What's up, Bravehorn? Hey, nice of you to join. Right at this time, the young man in the atrium sends his left palm out, aiming for the back of the middle-aged man. The middle-aged man took a step forward to avoid the strike. He swung his sword in a circle close to the ground and shouted, "Gotcha!" The young man's left leg was hit, and his leg gave out. However, he pointed his sword at the ground and used it like a crutch as he balanced himself and seemed ready to continue. So he falls, but then he uses his sword to stop the fall. The middle-aged man has already sheathed his sword, saying with a smile, "Brother True, thanks for letting me win. Are you hurt bad?" The young man's face turned white as a sheet, biting his lips. He replied, "Thanks for pulling back, Brother Gong." The old man with the bearded face is alit with pride. He smiled and said, "The East faction has won 3 rounds. Looks like the Sword Lake Palace is going to belong to the East faction for another 5 years. Sister Xing, shall we continue with the match?" The middle-aged nun barely controlled her anger. "Brother Zhuo's disciples are worthy of his name, but has Brother Zhuo made any progress on the no-measure Jade Cliff?" The bearded man shot her a look and said in a serious voice, "Has Martial Sister forgotten the rules of our sect?" The nun humphed, but did not reply. The old man's surname is Zuo, first name Zimu. He is the head of the No-Measure Sword sect's East faction. The nun's surname is Xin. Taoist name is Shuangqing. He is the head of the West faction. Okay, so they're both part of the No-Measure Sword sect. But one is from the East faction and one is from the West faction. No-Measure Sword sect used to be in factions of East, North, and West. The North faction in the last decades has weakened much, while the East and West has flourished. No-Measure Sword was started in the No-Measure Mountains in southern China during the reign of the 5th Emperor of Tang. The head of the sect resides in the Sword Lake Palace. Ever since the factions started started during the rule of the Emperor Renzong of Sung. There has been a contest every 5 years, during which the disciples of the three factions compete in the atrium of Sword Lake Palace. First faction to three wins is declared the winner and wins the rights to reside in the palace for 5 years. In the 5 years between contests, the losing factions study and trains hard in hopes of avenging the shame of losing last time. The winner, of course, does not slack off either. The North faction won 40 years ago, but was immediately beaten in the next contest 5 years later. The head of the faction, in a fit of rage, moved disciples to the west side of the mountain range, never to compete again, as well as losing all contacts with the other two factions. In the 35 years since, both factions have won and lost, with the East winning 4 times while the West winning twice. That round between that middle-aged man named Gong and the young man named Zhu is the 4th round of this year's contest. The win by Gong is the 3rd for the East in 4 matches, thus making the 5th match unnecessary. Alright, for a long time, the sects of the No Measure Sword, the factions of the No Measure Sword sect have been fighting each other. Right? They have been fighting in this contest that they hold every 5 years, and every 5 years, the winner of that contest gets to. Hold on, what does he get to do? They get to live or reside, or wait, hold on. They get to enter this place. Yeah, they get to enter the Sword Lake Palace. All right. So every 5 years they compete. The winner, the faction winner, gets to go reside inside the Sword Lake Palace. So in this contest, it looks like the East has won. Right? They've won 3 they have won 3 matches. So they're supposed to compete for 5 matches. They won 3, so therefore they've won this contest this year. So it looks like the East get to enter that palace. They get a better house. They get to live in the fancy place? Maybe. No, if we know Wuxia books, right? There must be something that has to do with martial arts in that palace. The west side of the atrium sits guests from other sects, including invited witnesses that are invited by either faction. The rest are just guests who are there to watch a show. Everyone here has at least somewhat a name in the Yunnan area, with the lone exception being the young man wearing green sitting at the end, who just happened to be the one that let out that solitary laugh. The young man came with Ma Wu De. Ma Wu De is a big tea merchant in the area. He loves company and gets along with almost everyone. If anyone in the world ever came to him for help, mostly financially, he would always do all he can without exception. Hence, he is well liked and well respected with many. However, his kung fu is only average. Zuo Zimu vaguely remembers the young man being introduced with the surname of Duan. Duan is the surname of the emperor in Dali. Inside of Dali borders, there are tens of thousands of people with the surname of Duan. Therefore, when the young man was introduced, Zuo Zimu didn't really pay much attention to it, figuring that he probably is a disciple of Ma Wu De's. So Zuo Zimu is the leader of the East faction, right? And he's kind of annoyed. Was it the East? Yeah. Zuo Zimu is the leader of the East faction, and he's a little bit annoyed that this young man named Duan just laughed in the middle of the contest, right? He kind of laughed at his student. So he's like, what the fuck? Therefore, when the young man was introduced, Zhu Zimu didn't really pay much attention to it, figuring that he probably is a disciple of Ma Wude's. This Ma Wude's kung fu is average to begin with. How good can his disciple be? So Zhuo didn't even bother with the much admired phrase, just plainly cupped his fist and led them to the atrium. Who knew that this young man is so brazen as to laugh at one of Zhuo Zimu's favorite disciples? So now Zhuo Zimu smiles and says, "The 4 disciples of Sister Xin that fought this year all had very good sword skills, particularly in that 4th match. Our win was especially lucky. Disciple Chu's skill is at such a level, at such a young age. Looks like his future is limitless. In 5 years' time, it seems like East and West are going to switch places." Suddenly he turns his eyes to the young man named Duan. "My lacking disciple used a fake move, teetering step, to win earlier. This young gentleman does not seem to be impressed. Please, demonstrate to my disciple how it should be done. Mr. Ma is famous throughout the area. His disciples' kung fu should be very good as well." Ma Wude blushed a little from that comment. "But this young man is not my disciple. With the little kung fu that I know, how can I possibly be someone's master? Please don't think too much of it, Mr. Zuo. This young man came into my town, heard that I was coming to visit No Measure Mountain, so he asked to come along. He says that he has long heard of the scenic beauty of No Measure Mountain and has wanted to see and experience it for himself." This got Zuo Zimu thinking. If he is your disciple, then out of respect to you, I wouldn't go too hard on him. But since he is only a normal guest and a visitor, there is no need to be polite. Someone is actually brazen enough to laugh at No Measure Sword East Factions' kung fu. If I do not make him regret it, then where do I put my face? Then where do I put my face? That means like, he's saying that he's gonna lose face. He's saying like how am I gonna face the world, right? How am I gonna face the world if I don't attack this guy? So he sneers. I don't know how we should address you, Mr. Duan, or which famous person is your master? The young man named Duan smiled a little. My given name is Yu, and I have never learned any kung fu in my life. But if I saw someone fall, doesn't matter if he meant to or not, I couldn't help but laugh a little. Zhu Zimu couldn't help but get angrier, for he does not have any respect in his tone of voice. What is so funny about it? Duan Yu lightly flicked the fan in his hand, casually replied, A person standing or sitting is not funny. Lying in bed, no humor there at all either. Lying on the ground, on the other hand, it's very funny. Unless he's a 3-year-old baby, then we'll make an exception. The more he talked, the less respectful he seemed to become. Zuo Zimu turns to Ma Wude. Mr. Ma, is this Mr. Duan a friend of yours? Okay, so it looks like Zuo Zimu is getting really mad at this one dude who doesn't seem to have any respect at all. In truth, Ma Wude just met Duan Yu as well, and doesn't know a thing about Duan Yu's background or past. However, he was born friendly, and Duan Yu insisted upon coming to No Measure Mountain. Ma Wude felt awkward to refuse, so he brought him along. At this time, he could tell that Zuo Zimu's voice is full of anger and wouldn't hold back if he gets started. Duan Yu seems like a nice guy, no point in getting him into trouble. So he says, Although Mr. Duan and I are casual acquaintances, we still came here together. To me, Mr. Duan seems very gentlemanly and does not know a single bit of kung fu. So his laugh a moment ago must have been just reactionary, and he did not mean anything. How about this? I'm kind of hungry right now, so Mr. Zuo, why don't you get some wine and the two of us then toast you 3 shots each as an apology? Such a good day today, Mr. Zuo. Why fuss with someone of a younger generation? Zuo Zimu plainly replied, Mr. Duan, since you are not a friend of Mr. Ma, Then if I in any way offend you, it doesn't have anything to do with Mr. Ma. Guangjie, this gentleman was just laughing at you. Why don't you go and ask for some advice? Guangjie is the given name of that middle-aged man named Gong. He had been waiting for his master to say something. At once he unsheathed his sword, jumped into the middle of the atrium, flipped his sword over, and offered the handle up to Duan Yu. Mr. Duan, please. Duan Yu replies, very good. Go on and practice. I'll watch. He did not move at all from his seat. Gong Guangjie's face turned purple. What did you say? Duan Yu answers, you have a sword in your hand and is swinging it here and there. Do you want to practice? Then go ahead and practice. I never liked watching others fight and such, but since I wanted to come here and you aren't really fighting, then I guess it wouldn't hurt to watch. Gong Guangjie screamed at him. My master is telling you to come out here and fight it out with me. Duan Yu lightly waved the fan in his hand and shook his head casually. Your master is your master. Your master is not my master. Your master can command you, but your master can't command me. Your master told you to fight with someone, and you have done so already. Your master told you to fight with me. First of all, I don't know how. Second, I'm scared to lose. Third, I'm scared it would hurt. Fourth, I'm scared I might die. So, no fighting. If I say we don't fight, then we don't fight. This whole speech, full of your master and my master, came out so smoothly that it seemed to be a poem. Numerous people in the atrium could not help but crack up somewhat upon hearing it. No Measure Sword West faction is divided half male and half female, and more than several female disciples started to laugh coquettishly. The serious atmosphere that so engulfed the atrium a moment ago is gone in a flash. Family drama. Yeah, apologizing with shots. That seems to be a win-win. They should have gone with that. No need to be so mad. Take a drink every time the tense changes. Oh no, Nikki. You would die. You would die by like the second page. Oh, what's up? Hey, Amaterasu is here. What the hell? There's a goddess among us. Alright, so this young man this Duan Yu guy seems very disrespectful. And people, like these two guys are getting really mad. Gong Guangjie walked up to Duan Yu, points the sword at Duan Yu's chest, asked loudly, You really don't know? Or are you pretending? The sword is merely inches away from Duan Yu's chest. Only a small push is needed for the sword to penetrate his heart. But Duan Yu's face is still calm and shows no signs of fear. Of course I don't know. Why would I pretend? Gong Guangjie replies, How dare you cause trouble here in No Measure Mountain? Here in Sword Lake Palace? My guess is that you are tired of living. Who is your master? Who told you to come here? If you don't tell me the truth, don't blame me if I don't hold back. Duan Yu casually replies, Hero, why are you being so ferocious? I have never liked fighting with others. Your sect is the No Measure Sword in the middle of No Measure Mountain. It is said in Buddhist canon there are 4 things that are of no measure: kindness, sadness, happiness, and sacrifice. As to what that means, I think everyone knows. Happiness leads to kindness, eliminating bitterness leads to sadness, being with friends and leaving bitterness leads to happiness, leaving everything so that worry and affection are equal as one leads to sacrifice. No measure is of Buddha. Amida Buddha. Amida Buddha. So I guess he goes on and on. Translator's note, I'll be using the phrase without measure instead of no measure because I think it is a better translation of the original phrase. Thank you, translator. So this guy's just talking, like he's just droning on and on and on. As he just sits there muttering to himself, Gong Guangjie has pulled back his sword. Suddenly he threw his arm out and landed a solid slap on Duan Yu's face. Duan Yu tried to tilt his head to avoid the strike, but the slap was too quick. On his white, gentlemanly-looking face, one can clearly see 5 red fingerprints. Like, bam, just slapped him. This caught everyone by surprise. Seeing Duan Yu's casual attitude and all the playing around he does with his talking, everyone assumed that he must be someone with spectacular skills. Who knew he couldn't even dodge a very average slap from Gong Guanjie? Obviously, he does not know any kung fu. In this world, a master pretending to be stupid, jesting with others to amuse himself is very commonplace. How can someone that does not know kung fu be so brazen and foolish to do so? Even Gong Guanjie stood there dumbfounded for a moment. Then immediately he grabbed Duan Yu's chest and lifted him up. I was wondering what kind of extraordinary person you are. It turns out you are just a sack of shit. He threw Duan Yu down. Duan Yu rolled along the floor, finally coming to a stop when his head hit a leg of a table with a loud bang. Okay, well, he acted very casually. He acted very cool, but looks like he doesn't know any kung fu at all. Ma Wudu did not have the heart to see this, scrambled over and helped Duan Yu up, all the while saying to Duan Yu, "So you really do not know any kung fu? Then why cause trouble here?" Duan Yu answered while rubbing his forehead, I only came here to visit the mountains and to check out the landscape. Who knew they were going to fight? You chop me, I chop you. What's so great about that? A monkey show would be better. Goodbye, Mr. Ma. Goodbye. I'm getting out of here. A young disciple of Zuo Zimu's jumped out in front from behind Zuo Zimu, blocking Duan Yu's exit. Because you don't know any kung fu, if you leave like this, it really is no bother. But why did you say that our little contest is worse than a monkey show? Seems rather harsh, don't you think? I'll give you two choices. Either we spar a little and let you have a taste of this worse than monkey sword skill, or you can go and kowtow 8 times to my master, and then say bullshit 3 times. Duan Yu laughed. You crapped? How come it doesn't stink? The young man did not take well to that comment, responding by simply throwing a ferocious punch straight at Duan Yu's face. Just as it looked as if Duan Yu is going to get his face smashed, an object came flying through the air and wrapped around the young man's arm. This object felt cold and slippery to the touch, yet somehow firm. As soon as it wrapped around the young man's arm, it started to slide. The young man pulled back his arm in shock. Looking down, he finds out that the object was a snake. The snake is about 2 feet long and green with red markings. The young man let out a huge scream and started to try to shake the snake off. However, the snake seems to be quite comfortable on his arm and did not want to leave no matter what. Suddenly, Gong Guanjie screamed, "Snake! Snake!" Everyone turns in time to see his face filled with fear. His hands were inside of his sleeves, reaching and grabbing for something in his back. But of course, he could not reach it. So in panic, he started to rip his clothes off. This drastic change happened so quickly and was so unexpected that nobody had recovered from the initial shock when they suddenly heard a single solitary laugh coming from above their heads. All at once, everyone looked up and saw a young girl sitting on a roof beam with snakes in her hand. Poor snake. She had dimples like flowers. Wait, what are dimples like flowers? Do flowers have dimples? She had dimples like flowers. This girl looked to be around 16 or 17, dressed in green. In her hands were 10 or so foot-long snakes. Wait, not 10 snakes. The snakes are 10 or so foot long. These snakes vary in colors, but from their triangular heads, it was obvious they were poisonous. But the girl did not seem to mind at all, as if they were toys in her hand. Everyone only glanced at her for a moment, but for Gong Guangjie and his martial brothers' screaming and yelping made everyone turn their eyes back to them. Only Duan Yu kept his eyes on the girl. The girl's feet were swinging back and forth, as if it was lots of fun sitting there on top of the beam. So he asked, "Miss, are you the one that rescued me?" The girl answered, "That bad man hit you. Why didn't you hit back?" Duan Yu shook his head. I don't know how to hit back. Suddenly, everyone collectively let out a ah! Duan Yu turned to see Zuo Zimu holding a blood-stained sword in his hand. A red snake is lying on the ground in 2 pieces, obviously killed by him. Gong Guangjie is now half naked, but still is jumping around like a clown. He is trying to grab a small green snake that is crawling around on his back. A couple of times it looked as if he almost got it, but he never came up with it. Zuo Zimu commanded, Guangjie, stand still and don't move. Gong Guangjie froze, and then a flash of white, and the snake is on the ground in 2 pieces. Oh no, killed the 2 snakes. What did the snakes do? They didn't bite him yet, did they? Zuo Zimu's sword speed was blinding. Most of the people present did not see what happened until the snake was on the ground. Yet Gong Guangjie's back is left unharmed. Everyone present could not help but cheer. The girl sitting on the beam shouted down, Hey, hey, old man with the beard, what did you do? What did you kill my 2 pet snakes for? If you keep this up, I'm going to stop being so courteous. Zuo Zimu replied angrily, Which household did you crawl out from? Wait, what? Which household did you crawl out from? What are you doing here? All the while secretly marveling at the girl, this girl who stealthily climbed up onto the beam without anybody noticing. Although everyone's attention was focused on the contest between the factions, but that still should not excuse letting a person climb up onto the beam unnoticed. If a word of this gets out, how much face would No Measure Sword lose? They're very concerned with losing face, okay? The girl's feet swung back and forth. Her shoes are of light green color, with a couple of delicate yellow flowers sewn on the sides, and basically dressed as a little girl. Zuo Zimu continued, Jump down this instant! Suddenly, Duan Yu blurted out, From that high? She'll get hurt. Go tell some people to bring a ladder. A couple of people snickered for a bit at that comment. The female disciples under the West faction all thought, This guy has the look of a well-educated gentleman, but it turns out he's as dense as a piece of wood. The girl got up there without anyone noticing. Why would she need a ladder to get down? The girl replied, First, you have to compensate for my snakes. Then I'll get down to talk to you. Zuo Zimu answers, What's the big deal about 2 little snakes? You can just go and easily catch 2 more, just anywhere. He is not worried about the girl because of her young age. What worries him is that this girl might have someone very powerful, such as her father or master, backing her up. Therefore, he is actually reasonably polite towards her. The girl grinned and replied, If it's so easy, why don't you go and catch them for me? Zuo Zimu switched the subject. Jump down. The girl simply answered, No. Zuo Zimu threatened, If you don't come down, then I'm going to have to make you come down. The girl let out a little laugh before answering, Come and try then. If you can make me get down, then you are really something. Zuo Zimu is still a leader of a sect. No matter what, he can't be seen actually fighting a little girl. So he turned to Shuangqing. Sister Xin, could you please send one of your female disciples up here to get her down? Shuangqing replied coldly. So Shuangqing is the leader of the other sect, right? The West sect. Oh, sorry, the other faction, the West faction. Shuangqing replied coldly, We don't have anyone here in the West faction with that level of Qinggong. Zuo Zimu's face dropped one more shade and was just about to answer back when he was interrupted by the young girl. If you don't compensate me for my snakes, then I'm going to show you a thing or two. Reaching into her pouch, she took out a furry thing and tossed it at Gong Guangjie. Gong Guangjie figured this was some weird flying weapon, so he dared not grab it with his hands and just tried to get out of the way. But who would have guessed that this little furry thing was alive? With a twist in midair, it landed squarely on Gong Guangjie's back. It is only now that everyone saw what the thing was. A gray-colored marten. Marten? Apparently that's a cute weasel-like creature that can climb trees. Okay. Should we look it up? Oh, that's pretty cute. Oh no! Oh, she just threw this cute thing at him. That's not so bad, right? Oh, it's so cute. Okay. Alright, so she threw that thing at him. This Martin was amazingly quick. Is it Martin?
Martin.
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 Martin. This Martin was amazingly quick, crawling all over Guang Guangjie's back, chest, face, and neck, as if it were flat ground. Gong Guangjie tried to grab the little creature, but it was way too fast for him, so he just ended up looking like a clown, with a furry ball shooting up and down his body. Duan Yu couldn't help but laugh. Truly amazing. Now this is interesting. This marten is only about a foot or so long. Its eyes are blood red, and it has claws as sharp as razors. Very soon, Gong Guanjie's upper body is covered with countless streaks of scratch marks. Yeah, she has like a bunch of creatures in her robe. You got snakes, you got martens. What else does she have in there? The young girl hissed a couple of times. A white shadow flew right at Guang Guanjie's face. Suddenly, the marten has pounced onto Gong Guanjie's face and stopped there, its furry tail swiping back and forth across his eyes. Gong Guanjie immediately tried to grab the marten, but by the time his hands got there, the marten was already behind his neck, and Gong Guanjie almost dug out his own eyes. Zuo Zimu stepped up, and his sword came flying in. At this time, the marten has ended up on Gong Guanju's face once again. Zuo Zimu aimed his sword at the marten, but the marten has already scrambled to the back of Gong Guanju's neck. Zuo Zimu's sword stopped just in time so that it is just touching the eyelid of Gong Guanjie. Although he missed the marten, the people present gasped in admiration, for if the sword had gone just a bit further, Gong Guanju's eye would have been gone. Xuanqing thought to herself, Brother Zhuo's sword skill is indeed extraordinary. Even I can't match him. Just this plundered crossing of the golden needle is proof enough of that. Swish, swoosh! Zuo Zimu linked together 4 more moves, one after another. But although his moves were fast to a rare degree, the marten is still one step faster. A young girl shouted down, Old man with the beard, your sword skills are actually pretty good. She then hissed a couple more times. The marten suddenly scurried downwards and disappeared. Zuo Zimu was taken aback for a moment. Gong Guanjie suddenly started grabbing and scratching his legs. It turns out the marten had gotten into his trousers. Ah, crap. By this time, Duan Yu has almost doubled over in laughter. Clapping his hands, he commented, Now, this is a real eye-opener. This trip was worth it after all. Gong Guanjie literally ripped his trousers off, revealing a pair of hairy legs. The young girl shouted, Like to bully other people, don't you? Well, let's see how you like it if you are stripped naked. Then she hissed twice more. This marten turned out to be quite obedient, as it immediately crawled into Gong Guanjie's underwear. With all the girls present in the atrium, there is no way Gong Guanjie is going to take off his underwear. So all he could do was hop around for a bit, smacking his butt and thighs with his hands. Suddenly he let out a scream and start desperately, albeit very awkwardly, making his way out of the atrium as fast as he could. Just as he is about to exit through the door, someone suddenly popped in from outside. Bang! Both of them were in a hurry, and they ran right into one another. Gong Guanjie was knocked a step back, but the person that was entering the atrium fell back and landed on his back. Zuo Zimu cried out involuntarily, Brother Zong? Brother Rong? Now Gong Guanjie had to ignore the marten that's moving all around his pants as he reached down to try to help the person up. Suddenly, the marten moved onto a particularly sensitive spot, forcing Gong Guanjie to shriek and grab for the marten, thus making the man fall down again. The young girl let out a rather coquettish laugh. All right, I think you have had enough. She let out a rather long hiss. The Marten suddenly appeared from Gong Guanjie's underwear, crawled up the walls, jumped onto the beam, and returned to the young girl's lap. There you go. Snectual harassment? No, this is a Marten. Yeah. Lucky she didn't do that with the snake, right? That would have been bad. The young girl grabbed a snake by its tail and dangled it in front of the Marten. Good boy, here's your reward. The Marten grabbed the snake and devoured it. Turns out that the snakes were food for the Marten. Duan Yu was simply amazed by all of this. He has never even heard of anything remotely close to this. The Marten finished eating the snake and crawled back into the young girl's pouch. Everyone clapped for Dr. Marten. Good job, Marten. Gong Guanjie helped that man up again, asked in surprise, Martial brother Rong, you all right? What's the matter? Zuo Zimu ran up to his martial brother. Rong Ziju's eyes are wide open in a stare, and his face is one of indignation and hate. However, he is not breathing. Zuo Zimu is shocked tremendously. He immediately tried to rescue his martial brother by giving him some of his own inner force, but he was not able to do anything. Zuo Zimu knows that although Rong Ziju's kung fu is not as strong as his own, it is still much stronger than Gong Guangjie. The fact that not only was he not able to avoid Gong Guangjie, but was killed by it means that he must have already been gravely injured. So he immediately opened up Rong Ziju's shirt, exposing his chest. On his chest, written in big black letters, were the words, Divine Farmer Clan, here to exterminate No Measure Sword. More than just several persons screamed involuntarily. The Divine Farmer Clan? That sounds pretty funny. Farmer doesn't sound so divine, but okay. The 9 words were not written by ink, nor is it carved out using a sharp object. A poison that caused the flesh to rot was applied in the patterns of the words on Rong Ziju's chest. The rotten flesh sank into his chest and formed the words. How can Zong Zimu not be furious? He gave the sword in his hand a shake, making it hum, and shouted, Well, let's see if this divine farmer destroying No Measure, or No Measure eliminating divine farmer. If this murder is not avenged, how can I call myself a man? He turns around and inspects Rong Ziju's body, but other than the words, he shows no signs of injury. He commands, Guanghao, Guangjie, go check outside. Okay, so it looks like there's, I think this is unrelated to the events that just happened. But it looks like this Divine Farmer Clan is attacking the No Measure sect. Gan Guanghao and Gong Guanjie are 2 of his proudest disciples. They pulled out their swords and ran outside. By now, the atrium is in a mess. Everyone gathered around Rong Ziju's body, discussing and analyzing the situation, completely ignoring Duan Yu and the girl on the beam. Their fertilizer is holy shit? Yes, priest farmer. Divine shit. Divine holy shit. Ma Wude commented, Divine Farmer Clan's behavior is just getting worse and worse. Brother Zuo, how did you become enemies with them? Zuo Zimu thought about his martial brother's tragic and terrible death, swallowed hard, and answered, For some herbs. Autumn of last year, 4 large heads of Divine Farmer clan came to visit, asking access to the back mountains in our control to collect some herbs. Collecting herbs is really no big deal. Divine Farmer clan originally started collecting and selling herbs, and there is no grudge whatsoever between us two clans. But Mr. Ma, you know very well that our back mountains are forbidden to outsiders. Not even the best of friends is allowed to go there. Not to mention a clan that we never had any contact with, like Divine Farmer. This is the rule ever since the start of our sect. We dare not disobey it. Actually, it really isn't anything serious. The young girl on the beam put the snakes in her hand into a little bamboo basket she has tied around her waist. She took out some melon seeds and started eating them. Her 2 feet are still swinging back and forth. Suddenly, she took a melon seed and threw it at Duan Yu, hitting him right on the forehead. Laughing, she asked, "Want some melon seeds? Come on up." Duan Yu answered, "I can't without any ladders." The young girl replied, "Well, that's no problem." She untied a green silk ribbon from her waist and dangled it down. "Grab a hold of the pelt and I'll pull you up." Duan Yu answered, "I'm heavy. You can't lift me." The young girl giggled and replied, "Oh, give it a try. Won't kill you." Duan Yu grabbed onto the ribbon and that is by now right in front of him. The young girl cautioned, "Hold on tight." She lightly lifted her hand and Duan Yu's feet were off the floor. Hand over hand, the young girl easily lifted Duan Yu up onto the beam. Duan Yu said, "Such an interesting marten you got, so obedient as well." The young girl took out the marten from her pouch, holding it up to Duan Yu. The marten's furs were shiny, and its red eyes stared at Duan Yu in wonder, just as cute as can be. Duan Yu asked, "Can I touch it?" The young girl answered, "Go right ahead." Duan Yu started to stroke the back of the marten, feeling the smoothness and warmth of it. Suddenly, the marten hissed and jumped back into the young girl's pouch. Catching Duan Yu completely by surprise, he lost his balance and almost fell off. The young girl grabbed his collar and pulled him right next to her. With a smile, she said, "You really don't know any kung fu. How strange." Duan Yu asked, "What's so strange about it?" The girl answered, "Well, you don't know any kung fu and you came here all by yourself? Then you are bound to be bullied by these bad people. Why did you come here?" Duan Yu was just about to answer when footsteps interrupted him. Gan Guanghao and Gong Guangjie just came rushing back into the atrium. By now, Gong Guangjie has put on another pair of pants, although he still hasn't put a shirt back on yet. Both of them have a look of panic on their faces. Walking up to Zuo Zimu, Gan Guanghao reported, "Master, Divine Farmer clan is gathered on the mountaintop facing ours. They have blocked every path and say that no one is allowed to pass. We saw that the enemies are here en masse. Without specific orders from our master, we did not dare to start fighting." Zuo Zimu nodded. How many of them were there? Gan Guanghao replied, "About 70 or 80. Zuo Zimu let out a little sneer. 70 or 80. And they want to exterminate No Measure's sword? I'm afraid it might not be that easy. Homegirl is strong. She is a farm girl, but we don't know that she is a farm girl, right? We don't know that she is from that farmer clan. Gong Guanjie held up a letter. "They have shot this arrow up with this letter attached to it." Zuo Zimu glanced at it, seeing that the envelope read, "Written to Zuo Zimu." He did not feel like touching the letter, so he commanded, "Open it up and see what it says." Gong Guanjie opened the seal and took out the letter. The young girl leaned over and whispered in Duan Yu's ear, "That bad man that hit you is about to die." Duan Yu was quite taken aback. "Really?" The girl whispered, "There is poison on the seal and the letter." Duan Yu still can't quite believe it. "You sure?" Gong Guanjie started to read. "Divine Farmer Clan writing to Zuo. The person reading this letter," he dared not to speak his master's name out loud, so he stopped once he read Zuo. Oh. So he's like, Divine Farmer Clan, writing to Zuo, the person reading this letter. We give you 2 hours of time to cut off your own right hand, destroy all your swords and weapons, and give up the Sword Lake Palace, or else not a dog of No Measure Sword would live. No Measure Sword West faction's leader, Shuangqing, snickered. Who the hell do Divine Farm Clan think they are? Talking shit like that. Suddenly, Gong Guanjie fell straight backwards. Gan Guanghao, who was standing beside him, automatically reacted by reaching down and trying to help him get up. Zuo Zimu took 2 steps forward, placed a palm on his chest, and lightly exerted some inner force, which shook Gan Guanghao back 2 steps. Zuo Zimu shouted in the midst of the move, Might be poison, don't touch him. Looking down, Gong Guanjie's face twitched non-stop. The hand that was holding the letter has already turned pitch black. His feet twitched a couple of times, and then all movement stopped. You still can't believe the voice has a body? I do have a body. Yeah, I'm not just a disembodied voice in my videos. I'm not just a disembodied voice narrating my videos. So this guy died too from the poison. Wah, wah. In such a short amount of time, No Measure Sword has lost 2 top fighters. Everyone present is struck dumb with shock and astonishment. Duan Yu leans over and whispers, Are you in the Divine Farmer Clan? The young girl angrily rebuked. Of course not. Why are you talking nonsense? Duan Yu asked, Then how did you know that there was poison on the letter? The girl laughed and replied, This kind of poison is kids' play. You can spot it a mile away. The only people that they can get are the clueless ones. Everyone in the atrium heard her last comment and all looked up. She is still sitting there eating the melon seeds, her feet still swinging back and forth. Zuo Zimu turns and inspects the letter in Gong Guanjie's hand. He could not see anything out of the norm. He tilts his head and looked even closer. Finally, he sees that both the seal and the letter has faint traces of phosphorescence. His heart went cold all of a sudden. Turning around, he addressed the girl. May we have the honor of knowing your name? The girl replied, My name? Can't tell you. This is a secret of the highest degree, strictly on a need-to-know basis. Zuo Zimu suppressed his anger and indignation with great effort, asked again, Then who is your father? Which hero is your master? The girl answered with a smile, Haha, I'm not falling for that. If I tell you who my dad is, then you would know my surname, and then could check up on who I am. My master is my mom. My mom's name is even more top secret than mine. Can't tell you. From her dialect, Zuo Zimu can tell she's definitely from inside of Yunnan province, maybe even local. Thinking to himself, in the martial world in Yunnan, which pair of husband and wife that's good at Qinggong could be her parent? The girl hasn't fought yet, so he can't make a call based on her techniques, so he turns to her again. Miss, please come down so we can discuss this together. Divine Farmer Clan isn't letting anyone through, probably will kill you too. The girl laughed and responded, They won't kill me. Divine Farmer Clan will only kill No Measure Swords' people. I heard the news out there, so I came here in hopes of catching a good show. Old man with a beard, your sword skills are not bad, but you don't know anything about poison. You can't beat Divine Farmer Clan. So apparently they're really good at poison, the Farmer Clan. Oh, you want bells for those 2 guys? Do we really care about those 2 guys? Okay, we can do a bell. Alright, to commemorate the 2 guys that died. Her last sentence hit the nail on the head. If only real kung fu is used, the two factions of No Measure Sword and the 8 or so guests here in the atrium might be able to take on the Divine Farmer clan. But nobody here understands a thing about poison, so the whole situation changes when poison is thrown in the equation. The girl's tone of voice seems to show that she is really looking forward to this, as if more of No Measure Sword dies, the happier she'll be. Zuo Zimu could not help but sneer, asked, "What did Miss hear out there?" He is used to giving orders and being insufferably arrogant, so he asked this question as if the young girl better answer with the greatest humility. The girl suddenly asked out of nowhere, "Want some melon seeds?" Zuo Zimu's face turned a slight purple. If it wasn't because the enemies are at the gates, he would have snapped a long time ago. So he restrained himself with the greatest effort and answered, "No." Naturally, Duan Yu cut in, "What kind of melon seeds are you eating? Laurel? Rose? Pine?" The girl replied, "Whoa, what's the big deal about melon seeds? Why have so many different kinds? I don't know about all those kinds of melon seeds, but these are made by my mom. She made them by frying gallbladders of snakes. Eating them improves your eyesight. Want to give it a try?" She gave a handful to Duan Yu and continued, "People who aren't used to them think they are somewhat bitter, but actually they taste really good. Duan Yu didn't want to go against her wishes, so he put one in his mouth. She totally doesn't care about the guy at the bottom. It is somewhat bitter, but there is a bit of spiciness to it, with a very sweet aftertaste. Afterwards, the back of his tongue feels clean and refreshed, so he picks up another one and put it in his mouth. He put all of the shells on the beam besides him, but the girl didn't seem to care and just casually spit them out. The random falling shells has caused quite a few people below to get annoyed and move further away. Oh, thank you so much, Casey. Nice of you to join us and nice of you to give me a little donation. I appreciate it. Zuo Zimu asked again, "Miss, what did you hear out there? If you can tell us, I will forever be grateful." Because he is the one in need, he tried to sound as polite as he can. The young girl asked in return, "The Divine Farmer clan people talked about some no-measure jade cliff. What in the world is that?" Zuo Zimu was taken aback for a moment, quickly recovered, and replied, "No-measure jade cliff? Do we have some precious jade or jade stone? Never heard of it before. Sister Xin, have you heard of this before?" Before Shuangqing could respond, the young girl cut in. "Of course she never heard of it before. Stop playing around wait. Oh, wait. The young girl cut in. "Of course she never heard of it before. Stop playing around as if I'm a kid. If you don't want to say it, then don't. Not like I care." A bit awkwardly, Zuo Zimu continued, "Oh yeah, I think I know. Divine Farmer Clan was probably talking about this smooth cliff face of the White Dragon Peak in our No Measure Mountain. This rock is very smooth, like a mirror. You can even make out individual hairs in the reflection. Some people say it is a big piece of jade, but in reality, it's really nothing more than a really smooth and really clean piece of rock." The girl replied, "Well, if that's all, why didn't you say it earlier? Then how did you and Divine Farmer Clan become enemies? Why would they not even allow a dog of No Measure Sword to live?" Zuo Zimu sees that he can't get anything out of the girl without first letting his secrets out. Because of the urgentness of the situation, and with all the outsiders present, he can't very well grab the girl and force her to tell him, can he? He suggested, "Miss, please come down so I can tell you everything." The girl's feet continued to swing back and forth again. "If you are going to tell, what difference does it make if I come down? And I don't believe more than half of what you say anyways, so go right ahead." Oh, so Divine Farmer. Thanks, Losh. So Divine Farmer is a literal translation of those two characters in Chinese, but it's also the name of an ancient medicine god who tasted hundreds of herbs to find cures for the people. Okay. So it says divine farmer, but it refers to that god, which sounds better than divine farmer, I guess. Rage flashed on Zuozimu's face, but he quickly recovered and began. Last year, Divine Farmer Clan came to ask for access to our back mountains to collect some herbs, and I refused. So they snuck in and ran into Brother Wrong and a couple of disciples who scolded the perpetrators for trespassing. They replied, "What is this place? The Imperial Gardens? Why can't we come here? Did No Measure Sword buy up all of No Measure Mountain?" Words were exchanged, and the conversation became very heated until they finally started fighting. Brother Wrong did not hold anything back and killed two of them. That's how it started. Then, on the banks of the Lancang River, or Lantang River, we two sides got together again. A couple more of lives were lost there. The young girl nodded. Oh, so that's it. What kind of herbs were they looking for? Zuozimu replied, I'm not quite sure which kind. The young girl triumphantly replied, Figured you wouldn't know. Since you have told me how all this got started, I should probably tell two things. That day, I was out catching snakes for my Martin Lightning. Or she named it. She named it, guys. That's so cute. Duan Yu cuts in, Your Martin's name is Lightning? The young girl answered, Yeah, of course. When he gets going, isn't he as quick as lightning? Duan Yu nodded in agreement. That's right, Lightning is such a good name. Zuozimu glared at Duan Yu for interrupting, but the girl is just getting to the important part and might get mad if he goes after Duan Yu, so he kept his mouth shut. I guess they're best buddies now? They're total BFFs now. The young girl continued to talk to Duan Yu. Lightning loves to eat poisonous snakes. He doesn't eat anything else, really. I had him since he was born. He's four now. He only listens to me and nobody else, not even my parents. If I want him to frighten people, then he would. If I tell him to bite, he goes and does it. Such a good boy. She reaches into her pouch with her left hand, petting the marten. Duan Yu isn't a complete fool. Duan Yu isn't a complete fool. Mr. Zuo is just as anxious as can be. Why don't you tell him what he wants to know? The girl let out a little laugh, looked down at Zuo Zimu, and continued. So there I was, hiding in the bushes, searching for snakes, when a couple of men came walking by. One of them said, This time if we don't kill all of No Measure Sword, take over No Measure Mountain and the Sword Lake Palace, all of our heads will be taking a nice little trip. I heard that there will be some fighting. I figured it would be pretty interesting, so I kept on listening. They just stayed there chatting, saying something about orders from the Nimble Vulture Palace of Misty Peak to take over Sword Lake Palace and check up on No Measure Jade Cliff. As she said this, Zuo Zimu and Xuanqing took a look at one another at the same time. The girl asked, What exactly is Nimble Vulture Palace of Misty Peak? Why does Divine Farmer Clan listen to its command? Zuo Zimu replied, This is the first time we have heard of the Nimble Vulture Palace of Misty Peak. We had no idea that the Divine Farmer Clan was actually obeying orders when they were stirring up troubles with us. Thinking that the Divine Farmer Clan would obey them, then that Misty Peak whatever must be quite formidable. Of all the mountains and peaks in Yunnan, Zuo Zimu has never heard of one called Misty Peak. The more he thought about all of this, the more worried he got. You hope this girl stays cool and doesn't die or disappear. Oh no, remember the girl before? The other girl in Smiling Proud Wonder way in the beginning? Yeah. Yeah, bad things happen to her. So let's hope that bad things don't happen to this girl too. Alright, let's take a break, okay? 5-minute break. It's very hard to find out if I'm in the middle of the chapter or not. Alright, 5-minute break. Be right back. And we're back. Do you guys like the story so far? Seems pretty interesting so far. Alright, so it looks like they're being attacked by this divine farmer clan. Alright, but they're only following the orders of this nimble vulture palace of Misty Peak. Alright, but we don't know what this Misty Peak place is. The girl ate 2 more melon seeds before continuing. So then this one guy said, if the herb Heaven's Link of No Measure Mountain can cure the illness of our clan leader, then we would gladly take on whatever hardships that may come our way to get our hands on it. Another guy sighed, only the kid elder of Heaven Mountain herself can cure this life-death talisman that is in me. Heaven's Link may have amazing healing powers, but I'm just hoping that it would ease some of the pain when this life-death talisman breaks out. It really is worse than death itself. They walked away and I couldn't hear them anymore. Am I clear enough on what happened? Divine Farmer are the demigods? There are no demigods or semi-devils in this story. All right, that's a Buddhist thing that I explained in the beginning, like a Buddhist thing. Yeah, with the eight legions and the 8 different races. Yeah, but there's no actual demigods or semi-devils in here. Zhou Zimu was deep in thought and did not answer. Shuangqing suggested, Brother Zhuo, Heaven's Link is nothing special. If Xi Kongshuan, the head of the Divine Farmer clan, wants to numb the pain, then why don't you give him some? And all would be solved. Zhuo Zimu snapped back. Like it would make a difference if we give some Heaven's Link. Didn't you hear? They were after the No Measure Mountain and the Sword Lake Palace. Shuangqing humphed at him again, but did not reply. The girl put her right arm under Duan Yu's armpits and said, Going down? Before Duan Yu could answer, she's already leapt off the beam. Duan Yu just managed to let out a little yelp before he was in midair as well. The girl gently landed on the floor with Duan Yu, her left arm still around his right arm. She suggested, Wonder what Divine Farmer Clan looks like. Let's go outside and have a look. Zhuo Zimu jumped forth. Hold on. I still have a couple of questions I want to ask. You said that when the life-death talisman on Xi Kongshuan breaks out, it is worse than death itself. What is the life-death talisman? And who is the kid elder of Heaven Mountain? The young girl replied, First of all, I don't know the answers to your questions. Second of all, with an attitude like that, even if I did know the answers, I wouldn't tell you. At a crucial time like this, Zhuo Zimu really didn't want to make any more enemies, but with the existence of No Measure Sword in jeopardy here, he can't afford not to get to the bottom of all this. So he jumped in front of Duan Yu and the girl and said, Miss, Divine Farmer Clan is right outside. If you go out and something unfortunate happens to you, then my conscience will not let me live in peace. The girl answered with a smile. Why would you care, since you didn't really invite me here? Besides, you don't even know my name. If Divine Farmer Clan kills me, my parents can't really blame it on you. All the while, she's tugging on Duan Yu's arm and walking towards the door. Zhuo Zimu unsheathed the sword from his waist. Miss, please stay. The girl asked, Using force now? Zhuo Zimu replied, I just want to get some clear answers regarding the questions I asked earlier. The girl replied, And if I don't tell you, are you going to kill me? Zhuo Zimu replied, Well, you have left me with no choice. He brought his sword up to chest level, blocking the exit of the two. The girl turned to Duan Yu. This old man wants to kill me. What do you think we should do? Duan Yu flicked the fan in his hand, then answered, "Well, we should do whatever you think we should do." The girl asked, "If he just stabs me and kills me, then what?" Duan Yu replied, "Share the blessings, share the hardships. Melon seeds we ate together, sword blades we'll take on together." The young girl replied, "Now there's a couple of good sentences. You are turning out to be quite a friend. I guess us meeting is not in vain after all. Let's go." She started to walk towards the door, as if the sinisterly green sword in Zuo Zimu's hand is not there. Like he could kill her? Oh, you don't think he can kill her? We'll see. We'll see. What if there's a twist and he just kills her right away? And we're like, what the hell? The sword in Zuo Zimu's hand moved toward the left shoulder of the girl. He had no intentions of harming her, really, just wanted to stop her from leaving. The young girl tapped the pouch around her waist and hissed. Suddenly, a white flash leapt out of the bag onto Zuo Zimu's right arm. Zuo Zimu immediately tried to snatch it off with his hand, but the marten was just too quick for him. Before he knew it, the marten had already bitten his wrist and jumped back into the girl's pouch. Zuo Zimu let out a loud cry and let his sword drop onto the floor. Feeling his right wrist go numb, he screamed, "Poison! Poison! You! The little bastard Martin has poison!" His left hand grabbing just above his right wrist, trying desperately to prevent the poison from spreading upwards. The disciples of No Measure Sword East faction scrambled up. 3 of them went to support their master. The rest of them all drew their swords and surrounded Duan Yu and the girl. Pointing their swords at the 2 of them, someone threatened, "Quickly, hand over the cure, or else this girl will die a most horrible death." The girl laughed. "I don't have any cure, but you guys just need to get some Heaven's Link, fry it in some thick oil, then feed him a bowl, and he should be all right. But within the next 6 hours, he is not allowed to move much, or else the poison goes straight to the heart, and that's not good. What the hell do you guys think you are doing, blocking my way? Want to give my Martin a try?" As she said this, she reached into her pouch and took out her marten. Holding the marten up in her right hand, she started to walk out, with her left arm still around Duan Yu's arm. Oh damn. Oh damn. Then her death would be avenged by angry woodland creatures? True! The disciples have all seen the sorry plight that their master is in. They know that with the little kung fu they have, there is no way they can avoid being bitten by the marten, much less catching it. So they all just stood there and watched the 2 of them walk out of the atrium. No, they just walked out. All the guests that were invited saw the speed of the marten as well. Nobody walked out and tried to stop them. Okay. It's been an hour and a half, and we're halfway through. I think we're done, right? Or should we finish this chapter? Considering it's the first chapter, what do you guys think? Because if we finish, then it'll be another hour and a half, probably. That's a good leaving off point, if you want to stop. You're up for finishing? All right, wait. What do you mean by finishing? Finishing the chapter? How is my voice holding up? It's starting to go, I think. I'm starting to have a. I'm starting to go. As you can hear. All right, please read on. All right, we can finish it. We'll finish it. We'll kick off this first episode by reading the entire chapter. Let's do it. Let's finish it. Yeah. But then next week, we'll just do half a chapter, okay? If my voice is going, I don't have to. Too late! Too late. We already decided. Let's just finish it. It's at a pretty good spot. I have not started a playlist yet. I think once this once we finish, I'll just put then I'll put it on a playlist and I'll link it. Right. Then I'll put it at the bottom of the homepage of the YouTube channel. Yeah, so you can find it there. Cool. 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 The girl walked out. Okay, so they exited the place. They've escaped. That master guy got poisoned and he can't chase them. The girl walked out, shoulder to shoulder with Duan Yu. The disciples of No Measure Sword are either inside the atrium or just outside, guarding against possible attacks. The two of them did not run into a single person since walking out of Sword Lake Palace. The girl said quietly, "Lightning has ate upwards of thousands of poisonous snakes in his life, so his teeth are extremely poisonous. That old man that just got bit should have immediately chopped his arm off. If he waits just a couple of hours more, he would die within 8 days." Duan Yu turned to her and asked, "But you said all he needed to do was drink a big bowl of soup made from Heaven's Link." The girl let out a little laugh and answered, "I was just messing with them. If I don't, would they have let us out?" Duan Yu was quite taken aback by this. Oh shit, the guy's gonna die. Wait here for me for a moment while I go back and tell them." The girl pulled him back. "Dummy, if you go back then tell them, do you think they would just let us live? Lightning really is something, but he and I can't hold them off if they all came at us. You said it yourself. Melon seeds we ate together, sword blades we take on together. I can't just run away by myself and leave you here to die." If you talk loud with beer help, you can keep doing karaoke all night. Ah, another karaokeer. I am also a karaokeer. Duan Yu scratched his head. "Then why don't you just give him some cure?" The young girl replied, "Aye, what's with all the fuss? They hit you and you are still this nice to them?" Duan Yu raised his hand and felt his cheek. He replied, "It was only one slap and it stopped hurting a long time ago. So what's the point in remembering it? Pity the person that hit me died." Wow, this guy is very educated, it seems. "Pity the person that hit me died." Mencius read, "A compassionate heart is the epitome of humanity. Buddha taught, save one human life is better than the 7th level of enlightenment. Although Mr. Zhuo was very malicious, he was still very polite towards you." The young girl let out a cute little laugh before replying, "At that time, I had something that he wanted. Of course he is going to be polite to me. I know you are talking for him so I can give him the cure, but I really don't have it. Only my dad has the cure. Besides, soon there wouldn't be a dog left of No Measure Sword after Divine Farmer Clan gets through with them. By the time I get the cure from my dad and return, that Zuo Zimu's head wouldn't be attached to his neck anymore. At that point, I'm afraid it won't make much of a difference whether or not he is poisoned." Duan Yu shook his head a bit, but decided to stop talking about the cure. The moon has just risen. Under the moonlight, Duan Yu notices that the young girl's face, which is white with faint signs of red, is even more tender and enchanting. He had to ask, "You couldn't tell your name to that old man with the beard, but can you tell me?" The young girl smiled and answered, "My surname is Zhong. My mom and dad call me simply Ling Er. So you can call me that too if you want to. Let's go sit down over there on the hillside. So tell me, why in the world you came to No Measure Mountain?" The two of them walked side by side towards the hillside to the northwest. Duan Yu started to talk as they walked. "I ran away from home, wandered all over the place. By the time I arrived in Pu'er, I have ran out of money. I heard from people there that a Mr. Ma Wudu is very good to guests and visitors, so I went to visit him to get a couple of free meals. It just so happens that he was about to leave to come to No Measure Mountain. I heard many times of No Measure Mountain's beauty and serenity, so I decided to follow him there to check it out. So I follow him here to check it out." Zhongling, we know her name now. Zhongling nodded her head and asked, "So, why did you run away from home?" Duan Yu replied, "My dad wanted to teach me Kung Fu. I didn't want to learn. So he started to force me. So I had no choice but to run away." Zhongling stared at him in disbelief, sizing him up over and over again. Sizing him up over and again. Still not quite believing him, she asked, "Why don't you want to learn Kung Fu? Don't want to put in the hard work?" Duan Yu replied, "I don't care about putting in the hard work. It just doesn't make any sense in my head to learn it. So I disobeyed my dad. So my dad got mad and got into an argument again with my mom." Zhongling smiled. "Your mom is always taking your side and argues with your dad, right?" Duan Yu answered, "Of course." Zhongling sighed. "My mom is the same." She stared towards the west, spellbound, as if looking at something very far away. After a long while, she asked, "Why doesn't it make sense to you? Why doesn't it make sense to you?" Duan Yu replied, I have been studying Buddhism since I was a kid. Dad even hired a teacher to come and teach me the 4 books and the 5 classics, as well as poetry, lyrics, songs, and prose. He also invited a very wise monk to come and teach me Buddhist scriptures. For the last 10 years, I have been taught that a follower of Confucianism should have a merciful heart, pushing himself to help others. In addition, a disciple of Buddha must not kill or rage, but should be merciful and benevolent in mind and action. Suddenly, my dad wanted me to learn Kung Fu, to learn how to beat and kill people. Naturally, I felt it was wrong and didn't listen. My dad and I debated and argued about this for 3 days, and I still wouldn't listen. I had many scripture quotes remembered wrong, and some of his interpretations were off. Wait, hold on. He had many of scripture quotes remembered wrong, and some of his interpretations were off too. Zhongling added, "So your dad got really angry and beat you, right?" Duan Yu shook his head. "My dad didn't hit me at all. He just merely hit 2 pressure points on my body, and in an instant it felt like there were thousands and thousands of ants and mosquitoes biting down on me. My dad said, 'How does it feel?' I am your dad, so I'll stop after a bit. But what if I was your enemy? Then you are in for a fate worse than death. Just try and see if you can kill yourself." At that time, I couldn't even lift a finger. How was I supposed to commit suicide? Besides, I'm doing pretty good living. Why would I want to kill myself? Afterwards, my mom came and started to argue with dad, and my dad released my pressure points. The next day, I ran away. Yep, the kid is a pacifist. He's a pacifist. Seems like he's a very devout Buddhist also, right? Zhongling listened to all of this in disbelief. Suddenly, she said rather loudly, "Your dad knows how to hit pressure points. Not only that, but he's also one of the top kung fus in the world. Did he just stab somewhere on your body with a finger and then you couldn't move and felt numb and itchy all over?" Duan Yu answered, "Yeah, what's so strange about that?" Zhongling's face is just full of shock and disbelief. You asked me what's so strange about that? You actually asked me what's so strange about that. People would be willing to kowtow to your dad 10,000 times and beg for 10 to 20 years just to learn a fraction of your dad's pressure point hitting kung fu, yet you actually don't want to learn it? Of course it's strange. Okay, so it looks like his dad is really powerful. Duan Yu replied, I really don't see what's the big deal about this pressure point hitting kung fu. Zhongling sighed, You must not say that, and you must not let others know about this. Duan Yu asked, Why? Zhongling answered, You don't know any kung fu, and you don't understand anything about the martial world either, do you? Your family's pressure point hitting kung fu has no match in this world. It's called Wan Yang Zi. Oh no. I can't keep saying that. It's called Wan Yang Zi. Wan Yang Zi. Other people in this world, when they hear the phrase Wan Yang Zi, they almost drool in envy. If people knew your dad knows this, some of them probably would kidnap you and force your dad to exchange the manual for Wan Yang Zi as ransom. Then what? I think I've heard this translated a different way before. This is a very weird way to say this this technique. But oh well. Guan Yu scratched his head. Didn't even think about that. My dad will probably get really mad and go fight it out with them. Zhongling said, Right, most people wouldn't dare to go fight against your family, but for the secrets of Wan Yang Zi, you never know. Besides, you are in their hands, so that really makes the situation very difficult. Tell you what, don't even tell the people that your surname is Duan. One young finger? Should I call it that? Alright, I'll try to say one young finger instead. That sounds pretty dirty, actually. But I guess it sounds better than one young Z. I know the move of one young finger. Duan Yu replied, There are tens of thousands of people with the surname of Duan in Dali. I don't even think every single one of them knows this kung fu. Besides, if my surname is not Duan, then what is it? Zhongling smiled. Why don't you just momentarily use mine? Duan Yu smiled back. That works, but you are going to have to call me Big Brother now. How old are you? Zhongling answered, 16. How about you? I'm 3 years older than you. Zhongling plucked a piece of grass from the ground and slowly tore it to pieces. Suddenly, she shook her head and said, You actually turned down learning one young finger? I still can't believe that. You are lying to me, aren't you? Duan Yu laughed at that a bit and replied, You make it sound so marvelous and wonderful, but can it feed you and help you make a living? I say that that Martin of yours, Lightning, is a lot more formidable. I just don't like the fact that he can kill with just merely a bite. Zhongling sighed. If he can't kill with just a bite, then what is he good for? Duan Yu replied, You are such a young girl. Why are you thinking about killing and fighting all the time? Zhongling asked, You really don't get it, or are you just pulling my leg? Duan Yu answered with a question of his own. What do you mean? Look over there. Duan Yu looked over and sees about 10 or so clouds of greenish smoke coming from halfway up the mountain that she was pointing to, but he really can't figure out what that means. Zhongling continued, You don't want to kill others, but others want to kill you. You aren't going to just hand them your head on a platter, are you? That smoke is coming from Divine Farmer Clan preparing their poison, which will soon be used against No Measure's sword. I don't want to get involved with this mess. Let's try to get away from here. Duan Yu shook the fan in his hand. This kind of fighting and quarreling in the martial world is getting more and more out of hand. Somebody in No Measure Sword killed someone in Divine Farmer Clan, but now Divine Farmer Clan got Rong Ziju and Gong Guanjie an eye for an eye. I say they are about even. Even if there are some injustice, they should go to the local magistrate and let them handle it, not just go out and kill. Does our Dali not have laws anymore? Dali is a country right next to Song, China. Zhongling clicked her tongue 3 times, and a bit of disdain and scorn shows up on her face. She replied, "From what you say, you would think that you are a relative of the king or some big-shot official or something. We normal people aren't going to listen to that." She looked up at the sky for a bit, pointed to the southwest, and whispered, "We'll wait until the moon goes behind a cloud, then we'll sneak out in that direction. I don't think the Divine Farmer Clan will catch us if we do that." Dan Yu replied, "No, I'm going to talk to their leader and tell him not to kill people just because he wants to." Some pity surfaced in Zongling's eyes. "Big brother, you really don't understand how things work, do you? Divine Farmer Clan is dark, evil, and mean. They are very good at using poison. You just saw how they killed 2 people back there. Let's not cause more trouble and get out of here." Duan Yu answered, "No, I'm going to have to get involved in this. If you are afraid, then just wait here for me." Okay, he's being a hero here. He's going to try to convince the Divine Farmer Clan to not kill the other clan. He stood up and started walking to the east. Zhongling waited until he has walked 10 yards or so. Then she suddenly chased up to him, her right hand coming out, aiming for his shoulder. Duan Yu heard the footsteps and was just about to turn around when she grabbed his right shoulder. Zhongling followed with a slight hook with her leg. Duan Yu couldn't keep his balance and fell straight forward. His nose smashed against a rock and started to bleed. He hurriedly stood back up and angrily asked, "What the hell was that for? Damn, that hurts." I wanted to see once and for all whether you really don't know any kung fu or just pretending. I was doing this for your own good." Duan Yu replied with some indignation, "What's so good about it?" He wiped his nose with his hand. Immediately, his hand was covered in blood. Some blood fell onto his chest and caused a couple of red spots on his shirt. He really wasn't that hurt, but seeing so much blood come out, he couldn't help but to start muttering, "Ouch, ouch." Zhongling is starting to get a little worried as well. She quickly took out her handkerchief, and tried to wipe some of the blood off. Duan Yu is still mad at her, so he tried to push her away, saying, "Get away from me. Who needs your sympathy?" He doesn't know any kung fu, and his moves have no coordination, so as he naturally tried to push her away, his palm headed straight toward her chest. Zhongling just reacted and naturally grabbed his wrist, borrowed the force of his push, led his move by her, and added a little push of her own at the end, all in one motion. Duan Yu had no chance and fell over again. This time he banged his head against a rock and fainted. Okay. This guy doesn't know how to fight at all. Zhongling sees that he is not moving, so she shouts at him, "Get up! I'm not finished talking to you!" Seeing that he's still not moving, she starts to get worried and quickly went over to him. Noticing that Duan Yu has fainted, she immediately pinched his philtrum and then started to massage his chest with great effort. After a while, Duan Yu finally started to come around, feeling as if he is leaning against something soft and noticing a very faint, sweet, and serene smell. He slowly opened his eyes and saw the beautiful eyes of Zhongling looking down at him with great concern. Seeing that he has come around, Zhongling let out a huge sigh of relief and said, "Thank goodness you didn't die." Noticing that he is lying in her lap with his head leaned up against her stomach, Duan Yu's heart skipped a beat. However, he immediately felt the throbbing pain on the back of his head and let out a big ouch. Why do you feel like this guy will miraculously survive the whole story? Is that your prediction? The definition of philtrum? Crap. She immediately pinched his philtrum. I don't know, but my first thought is it means your nose or the top part of your nose. Something with the nose. She pinched his philtrum and then massaged his chest. Massage his chest. It's gotta be the nose, right? I'm saying, okay, I'm gonna say some part of the nose. Philtrum, that's what it means. Oh, maybe not. Aha! I am a genius! It's the vertical groove between the base of the nose and the border of the upper lip. Oh, wait. Base of the nose and the border of the upper. Oh, it's this thing in the middle. Yeah, this part in the middle, right? Let's see some pictures. Oh, it's not the nose. It's this thing. That thing has a name? Jesus Christ. So it's this thing right here. Gotcha. God damn it. Alright. Alright, you guys get a song after this. I'm gonna karaoke. We haven't done that in a while, huh? Why would she pinch his philtrum? What the hell does that mean? Why? Why? That doesn't... It doesn't seem like that would do anything. Jesus. However, he immediately felt the throbbing pain on the back of his head and let out a big ouch. This gave Zhongling quite a scare. What's the matter? Guan Yu answered, My head hurts like hell. Zhongling said, You are not dead. No need to scream bloody hell. If I'm dead, how could I scream bloody hell? Zhongling laughed at that comment. She held his head up. The back of his head has an egg-sized bump where it banged against the rock. Although it's not bleeding, she figured it still hurts a lot. She said, Well, who told you to make such a perverted move? If it were anyone else, I would have immediately killed him. You only got a bump on your head. You should be thankful. Guan Yu sat up. Me? Perverted? What in the world? Where did you get that idea? Zhongling is young and henceforth only kind of understand man-woman relationships. But not really. She blushed and said, I'm not telling you. All in all, you were in the wrong. Who told you to send your palm towards there? Guan Yu suddenly realized what she was talking about and felt very embarrassed. He tried to think of something to say, to explain, but he decided that excuses are not right. So he said, I didn't mean to do that. After saying that, he stood up. Zhongling got up as well. Since you didn't mean to, I guess I'll let that one slide. Good thing you finally came around. You scared the hell out of me right then and there. Guan Yu said, Back in the Sword Lake Palace, if you didn't show up and helped me, I was sure to get a couple of slaps on the face. Now that I fell twice, I say everything is even. When it comes down to it, it's all fate. I can't avoid it. Zhongling replied, Why are you talking like that? Are you still mad at me? Well, you don't expect me to cheer, great, wonderful, or turn around and thank you when you hit me, do you? When you hit me, do you? Zhongling grabbed his hand and said in an apologetic tone, Please don't be mad at me. I swear I won't hit you ever again. Only if you let me hit you really hard, twice. Zhongling really doesn't want to, but seeing how he has turned around and is about to walk off, she relented. All right, I'll let you hit me twice. Just don't hit me too hard. Guan Yu replied, If I don't hit you hard, then how can I get my justice? It has to be hard. If you don't want me to hit you, then just forget it. Zhongling sighed, closed her eyes, and quietly said, All right, but after you hit me, you can't be mad anymore. After a while, Duan Yu still haven't hit her yet. So she opened her eyes and saw Duan Yu looking at her, sort of smiling, but not quite. Zhongling asked in surprise, What are you waiting for? Duan Yu stuck out his right pinky, lightly flicked one on her right cheek, and lightly flicked one on her left cheek. Lightly flicked once on her right cheek, and lightly flicked once on her left cheek. Smiling, he said, All right, that's as hard as I could hit you. Did it hurt you much? Zhongling couldn't be any happier. I knew all along that you were a good person. She's standing just a feet or so away from Duan Yu. Her fragrance permeates the air. The more Duan Yu looks at her, the prettier she becomes. He didn't want to move away. After a long while, he finally said, All right, now that I got my revenge, I need to go find that Su Kong Chuan now. Is this descending into spanking? I wouldn't call that spanking. Yeah, they're being cute. Oh no. Zhongling anxiously said, Dummy, don't go. You don't know a thing about the rules of the martial world. If you somehow offend him accidentally, I can't get you out of it this time. Duan Yu smiled and shook his head. Don't worry, I'll be back soon. Just wait for me here. He turns around and starts to walk towards the green smoke. Oh, this can't end well. Zhongling stood there trying to decide what to do. Then she said, All right, like you said, melon seeds ate together, sword blades we take on together. She chased up to him and then walked side by side towards the smoke. Soon they see two men dressed in yellow running up to them. The older one on the left spoke up. Who is it? What are you here for? Both men had a medicine bag hanging off their shoulders. Each had a wider than usual saber in hand. Duan Yu answered, I am Duan Yu. I wish to talk to Master Si Kong of your clan. The old man asked, What for? Duan Yu replied, I will tell Master Si Kong when I see him. The old man asked, May I humbly ask which sect are you from, and who your master is? Good thing he hasn't learned the one yang finger. True. Duan Yu answered, I'm not of any sect. My master's surname is Meng. His name is Shu Sheng, and he has styled himself Su Ru. My master's specialty is logic of changes, and has had some remarkable success in the field of talks of the divine and systems of diction. He was, of course, referring to his teacher that was invited by his dad to teach him the 4 books and the 5 classics. That old man, hearing the talks of the divine and the systems of diction, thought they were some weird and strange kung fu. Duan Yu, standing there, casually fanning himself with the fan in his hand, have all the looks of a kung fu master who does not want to show himself. Although the old man has never heard of anyone in the martial world named Meng Shu Sheng, but since Duan Yu said he has had some remarkable success, he probably isn't just some nobody. So he politely said to Duan Yu, If that's the case, then please wait here for a second, while I go and report to my master. Zhongling waited until he hurriedly ran up and around the hill, then turned to Duan Yu and asked, What was all that lie about logics of changes? What kind of kung fu is that? What if Si Kong Xuan tests you later? How are you going to cover that? Duan Yu replied, I remember most all of the cycle of changes. It probably wouldn't be that bad if Si Kong Xuan wants to test me on the meanings and philosophies with it. Zhongling just stared at him, not sure how to respond. The old man came back and said with a stone-cold face, What the hell are you talking about? Master tells you to go see him. From his looks, he probably got a good bit of scolding from Si Kong Xuan. Duan Yu nodded and started to walk up with Zhongling. Soon, the 3 of them made their way around the mountain side. and came up to 20 or so men sitting around in a pile of scattered rocks. Duan Yu walked up, seeing a short and skinny old man sitting on the tallest rock. He has a goatee beard and has an arrogant expression on his face. Duan Yu figured that he probably is the head of the divine farmer clan Si Kong Xuan, so he cupped his fist and said, Duan Yu is honored to meet Master Si Kong. Si Kong Xuan just merely nodded his head, not even getting up. He asked, Mr. Duan, why are you coming to see me? Duan Yu replied, I heard that your clan and the no measure sword has become mortal enemies. Having just witnessed 2 people of no measure sword dying, a most horrible of deaths, my heart could not bear it, and decided to come here in an attempt to try and stop all this killing. Enemies are easy to make but hard to break, and besides, this kind of vigilante killing is against the law. If any governor or officials find out, it could be a lot of trouble. I hope that Master Si Kong would stop before it is too late and not trouble no measure sword anymore. This is not going to go well. Si Kong Xuan just sat there and listened to him talk. Now that Duan Yu stopped talking, Si Kong Xuan did not respond, just looked at Duan Yu sideways. Duan Yu continued, What I just said is a plea for Master Si Kong to think it all through before acting. Si Kong Xuan is still looking at him with curiosity. Suddenly he let out a hearty laugh and said, Who do you think you are? Actually coming here and try to distract me? Who told you to come here? Duan Yu answered, Nobody told me to come here. I came here because I wanted to. Si Kong Xuan humphed and replied, I have been walking around in the martial world for 40 years, and never once has seen anyone as brazen as you, little bastard. Ah Sheng, seize these 2 little kids for me. The tall man beside him answered and grabbed Duan Yu's right arm. Zhongling immediately shouted out, Hold on, Master Si Kong. Mr. Duan has only been trying to politely persuade you. If you don't want to listen, then don't. Why come to blows? She turns to Duan Yu. Big brother, Divine Farmer Clan won't listen to you. We don't need to get involved in other people's business. Let's go. Ah Sheng has already grabbed Duan Yu's arm and twisted them behind his back. He looked at Si Kong Xuan, waiting for his instructions on what to do next. Si Kong Xuan coldly said, The thing that the Divine Farmer Clan hates the most is other people meddling in our affairs. There must be something more to you 2 babies coming here and wasting my time. Ah Hong, seize the girl. Another man answered as he extends his hands towards Zhongling. Zhongling stepped 3 steps to the side and said, Master Si Kong, in truth, I'm not scared of you. It's just that my mom and dad does not want me to make trouble. So let my big brother Duan go, or else when you force me to respond in kind, it would not be much fun. Si Kong Xuan laughed heartily at that comment. Well, aren't we boasting a little too much? Ah Hong, what are you waiting for? Ah Hong answered again as he tries to grab Zhongling's wrist. Zhongling pulled her right arm back and sent her left palm out. The palm is like a knife as it heads towards Ah Hong's forehead. Ah Hong lowered his head to avoid the move, but Zhongling's right fist came in from underneath in an uppercut. It caught him squarely on the jaw and knocked him onto his back. Si Kong Xuan casually observed, Seems like the girl can do a thing or two, but not enough to be able to get away with it here. He shot a look over at a tall old man beside him and waved his right hand. The old man immediately stood up and stepped up to Zhongling. He is a whole 2 feet taller than her, and his hands came in from above like talons straight for her shoulders. Zhongling immediately dodges out of the way, but the man's left hand merely missed her face by inches. Feeling the piercing wind caused by the move, Zhongling started to get a little scared. She spoke up, Master Si Kong, tell him to stop, else don't blame me for being impolite. and when my dad scolds me for this in the future, you won't be in such a good shape either. As she is talking, she dodged 3 more moves from the old man. Sikong Swan commanded, "Grab her!" The old man led on with his left hand, while his right hand drew a little circle. Suddenly, he flipped his palm down and grabbed onto Zhongling's right arm. Zhongling let out a little scream and squirmed in pain. She shook her left hand and hissed a couple of times. A flash white shot out. Flash white. A white flash shot out. The old man let out a muted groan, let her arm go, and sat down on the ground. The marten has bit him on the back of his hand and has already jumped back onto Zhongling's waiting hands. A middle-aged man jumped out from beside Sikong Swan and helped the old man up. The old man's entire body was shaking, and the back of his hand was turned pitch black. Well, that poison works fast. Zhongling hissed twice more, and her marten scrambled towards Ah Sheng's face. Ah Sheng tried to bat it away, but the marten instead just bit him on his hand. Ah Sheng's kung fu is not as good as the old man's, so he is even less able to tolerate it. Immediately, he curled up into a ball and started to scream. Zhongling grabbed Duan Yu's arm, started to walk off quickly, and whispered, "We are in trouble now. Let's get out of here." The men sitting around Sikong Swan are all top fighters in the Divine Farmer clan. These men have dealt with poison for most of their lives and have seen pretty much every kind of poison there is. But this marten's lightning speed and incredible poison is something that none of them has ever heard of. Sikong Swan shouted, "Seize this girl, this instant! Don't let her get away!" 4 men answered his order and jumped up. They split into 2 groups and came at the 2 of them from opposite sides. Zhongling hissed several more times, and the marten jumped from one person to the next. In the blink of an eye, all 4 men are either rolling on the ground or curled up into a ball. The members of the Divine Farmer clan all know that this little marten is indeed something to be reckoned with, but nobody wanted to seem cowardly in front of the leader. So 7 or 8 more men came chasing after them. Zhongling threatened, "If you don't want to live, then come on." The men are all holding a weapon, be it a medicine back or a short saber, all hoping to try and bat away the marten with his weapon. But the marten is faster than any flying weapon in the world, and soon all of the men were rolling on the ground as well. Sikong Swan tossed off his robe, reached into his bosom, and took out a small bottle. He applied the contents of the bottle to his hands and arms and started chasing after Duan Yu and Zhongling. He jumped in front of the 2 of them and said, "Stop!" The marten jumped from Zhongling's hands towards his nose. Sikong Swan held his palm up vertically, but couldn't help but feel nervous. He is not sure whether or not this medicine that works against the snake poison will work against this poisonous marten that he has never heard of before. If it doesn't, then his life and the entire clan is destroyed. The marten was just about to bite down on his hand when suddenly it twisted in the air and bounced back to Zhongling by rebounding off his hand with its back feet. Turns out that inside the marten there is stored a great amount of snake poison, which is exactly what the medicine that Sikong Swan applied works the best against. Oh, he found a counter. So this Sikong Swan guy has medicine against snake poison. And the marten, I guess because he eats a lot of poisonous snakes, he has a lot of snake poison in him, right? So the marten has a lot of snake poison in it. Yeah. The palm wind was fierce. Zhongling could not get out of the way and almost fell over. Duan Yu, on the other hand, was completely overwhelmed by what is left of the palm wind and fell back to the ground. Zhongling anxiously hissed a couple more times, urging the marten to attack. It jumped out again, but it could not bear the medicine on Sikong Swan's palms, so it instead went after his head and legs, but Sikong Swan waved his arms around, protecting his body, making it impossible to get close. Sikong Swan is nevertheless still afraid of the marten, and he kept on giving orders to his men. 20 or so clan members surrounded them, each with an herb in hand. They lit the herb and smoke started to fill the air. Duan Yu just got up when he suddenly felt lightheaded and fell back down again. In a daze, he saw that Zhongling also fell down from the smoke. 2 clan members stepped forth to seize Zhongling, but the marten, in protecting its master, bit both of them. Everyone stepped back in fear, still surrounding the 2 of them, but nobody dared to seize them. Xikong Swan ordered, "Start burning Manly Yellow on the east side and Deer Musk on the south side. The others get out of the way." Manly Yellow? Okay. The clan members followed the orders and started to burn Manly Yellow and Deer Musk. There is not an herb or poison that Divine Farmer clan is not equipped with. Not only that, all they have are the best picks of the drugs. The pure Manly Yellow and Deer Musk they burned immediately let out a mace-like cloud of smoke, carried by the southeasterly wind. The smoke slowly descended upon Zhongling. However, the marten turned out to be immune to the smoke, still jumping back and forth among the clan members. Before anyone knew it, 5 more clan members had been bitten. Well, how many did it bite? Holy shit. Suddenly, an idea popped in Xikong Swan's mind. He ordered, "Start piling up dirt. Let's bury this girl and her marten alive." The clan members immediately started to dig up dirt and threw it onto Zhongling's body. Duan Yu thought to himself that he is the cause of all this trouble. How could he live on if Zhongling is going to die? So he summoned up all his strength and flipped on top of Zhongling's body. Holding her tight, he shouted, "We are dying together!" The dirt kept on raining down on his head. The words "we are dying together" hit home with Xikong Swan. He looked around, seeing 20 or so clan members rolling on the ground in pain. 7 or 8 of them are very important members of the clan, and 2 of them are actually his martial brothers. Although his anger would be vented if he killed the girl right now, all these people would probably die too. The marten's poison is unlike anything he has ever seen before. He probably has to get the remedy from her in order to cure it. So he ordered, "Don't bury their heads. Let them alive. Leave them alive." Soon, the 2 of them are buried up to their heads. Zhongling felt like an enormous weight has been placed on her body, and Duan Yu has held on to her the entire time. Only their heads are covered by dirt. Neither one could move an inch. Oh no, now they're stuck in the dirt. Wait, Manly Yellow is the yellow rock-like substance found in a cow's stomach, used for medicine. Oh, is it a bezoar? Oh, Manly Yellow is a bezoar. If you haven't seen my bezoar episode. That's pretty cool. So they were burning bezoars. All right, guys. Give me 5 minutes. 5-minute break. I'll be right back. And we're back. Alright, so they have been captured. The marten did his job, though. It bit like 20-something people, right? But, yep, they've been caught. They are buried up to their heads, so only their heads are showing up from the ground. Wait, it's not... So Manly Yellow is not bezoar? You got it wrong. Oh no. The Manly Yellow is realgar, a type of mineral. Realgar. But why is it red? I guess this is yellow. Why is it red though? Yeah, that was Jackie Chan singing the Chinese part. Yeah, true. All right, so they're buried in this. They're buried with their heads coming out of the dirt. Soon the two of them are buried up to their heads. Zhongling felt like an enormous weight has been placed on her body, and Duan Yu has held on to her the entire time. Only their head is not covered by dirt. Neither one of them could move an inch. Shi Kongswan asked, "Little girl, do you want to live or die?" Zhongling answered, "Of course I want to live. If you kill me and big brother Duan here, then a lot of you guys would die too." Shi Kongswan replied, "Good. Then quickly hand over the cure for that Marten poison of yours. That way I'll let you live." Zhongling shook her head. "Not just my life, both of our lives." Shi Kongswan replied, "All right, I'll let both of you live. Where is the cure?" "I don't have it on me. Only my dad can cure Lightning's poison. I told you earlier not to make me use force, or else my dad would be mad at me, and you wouldn't get anything good out of it either." "Still bullshitting? Still bullshitting at a time like this? See if I just leave you two here and let you two die of hunger." "Everything I have told you is true. Why don't you believe me? All in all, this whole matter is really troublesome. Probably won't be able to hide it from my dad. What do I do then?" "What's your dad's name?" "You are not a baby. How come you are so unreasonable? Like I can just go around telling everyone my dad's name." Shi Kongswan has been making a living in the martial world for decades now, and has earned a name and some fame in the world. But today he has just about ran out of ideas regarding these two little kids. He bit down and ordered, "Bring me a torch. Let's light the little girl's hair on fire and see if she'll talk." A clan member handed over the torch. Shi Kongswan grabbed a hold of it and walked up to the two of them. In the light of the fire, Zhongling could not help but get scared by his hideous expression. She shouted out, Hey, don't burn my hair. If the hair is on fire, then the head is going to hurt like crazy. If you don't believe me, then why don't you try it on your beard?" A hideous grin appeared on Shi Kongswan's face. "Of course it hurts. I don't need to burn my beard to know that." Holding up the torch, he gave it a shake right in front of Zhongling's face. Zhongling let out a little scream. Duan Yu hugged her tightly and shouted, "Goatbeard, I started this whole mess. Why don't you burn my hair instead?" Zhongling shouted back, "No, it'll hurt you too." "Well, if you are scared of getting hurt, then hand over the cure so I can start working on my brothers." "How dumb are you, really? I have already told you only my dad can cure Lightning's poison. Even my mom does not know how. My Lightning is very, very rare. His bite is filled with strange and exotic poisons. You think it's that easy to cure?" Shi Kongswan can hear the people that have been bitten groaning all around him, so he knows that the poison is very strong. These men care very much for face. They wouldn't even mutter a sound even if a hand or a foot is broken or cut off. The medicine for snake venom has already been applied to every one of them, but from the continued groans, it is obvious that the clan's anti-venom that has always worked before is having no effect. Several people have tried to apply some medicines that work against scorpion, centipede, or spider poisons, but that has only increased the volume of their groans. Shi Kongswan stared down at Zhongling with rage and shouted, "Who is your old man? Tell me his name now!" "You really want me to say it? Aren't you scared to find out?" This set Shi Kongswan off. He lifted up the torch and was just about to set Zhongling's hair on fire. All of a sudden, he felt an incredible amount of pain coming from the back of his head. Something bit him there. Shocked, Shi Kongswan immediately took a breath to protect his head and heart. He tossed the torch away and tried to grab whatever is on the back of his head. Suddenly, the back of his hand was bitten as well. Turns out that the Marten has dug its way out of the dirt and taken advantage of the fact that Shi Kongswan was distracted and attacked. Yeah, my hero. I like what's his name? I like Lightning. Lightning is my hero. After being bit twice in a row, Seekong Swan is scared nearly out of his wits. Immediately, he sat down and started to try to force the poison out using his inner force. The clan members were busily trying to cover the marten with dirt again, but this time the marten jumped up and bit 2 more men. A couple more white flashes in the dark, and the marten has jumped into the bushes and disappeared. Good job. Jesus. The marten is the MVP in this battle. Seekong Swan's underlings hurriedly took out medicines and herbs that work against snake venom and started applying it to their master. Some of the medicines were taken orally along with the ginseng they had available. Seekong Swan had to divide his strength against the 2 places where he was bitten, and soon it became obvious to him that he can't keep this up. Biting down hard, he grabbed the dagger around his waist with his left hand and cut off his right arm at the elbow. Damn. This guy is kind of a badass, actually. The clan members all trembled at the sight and scrambled to put some drugs that stopped bleeding on the wound. But blood gushing out of the wound washed away the medicines as soon as they were applied. Eventually, someone tore a piece of clothing off and tightly bandaged up Seekong Swan's elbow, finally stopping the bleeding. Damn, he's like, oh, you gotta do what you gotta do, right? You just gotta do what you gotta do. Just cut off your arm. After witnessing such a harrowing scene, Zongling's face turned white as she stopped shouting. Seekong Swan asked in a low voice, after being bitten by that devil Martin, how many days do you have? Zongling answered in a shaky voice, my dad said up to 7 days, but since Master Seekong, your inner strength is so strong and is so good at Kung Fu, maybe, I'm sure you'll live for longer than that. Remember, he got bit twice, so cutting off his arm only slowed down the poison, right? He still got bit in the back of his head. Seekong Swan didn't reply. Instead, he ordered, pull that guy out of there. The clan members pulled Duan Yu out of the dirt pile. Zhongling panicked. Hey, this has nothing to do with him. Don't hurt him. She tried to take advantage of the moment and struggle out of the dirt pile, but the clan members immediately filled the space left by Duan Yu with more dirt. Zhongling sees there's nothing more she can do, so she started crying. Duan Yu is quite scared himself, but he forced himself to calm down. Smiling, he said, Miss Zong, a true man faces death like it's nothing. Don't show any weaknesses in front of these bad people. Zhongling answered between sobs, I'm not a man. I don't want to face your death like it's nothing. I want to show weakness. Seekong Swan ordered in a heavy voice, give this fellow some intestine fragmenter. Give him the 7 days worth of dosage. A clan member poured out of a medicine bottle about half a bottle's worth of red powder and forced them into Duan Yu's mouth. Zhongling cried out, that's poison! Don't eat it! Duan Yu knew it was a very potent poison when he heard the words intestine fragmenter, yes. But figuring that since he is in the hands of others, there's nothing he can do to refuse. So he swallowed the powder, smacked his lips, smiled, and said, tastes pretty sweet. Master Seekong, how about you eat the other half of the bottle? Seekong Swan just humphed at him in anger. Zhongling let out a little laugh in the middle of a sob, then went right on crying. Seekong Swan said to Duan Yu, this intestine fragmenter will break out after 7 days, splitting your intestines into inch-long pieces. Go and get the cure for Martin's poison. If you get back here in 7 days, then I'll give you the cure for it and let the girl go too. Zhongling cut in. Just the drug does not work. You have to have my dad use his unique inner strength to force the poison out. Seekong Swan replied, Then he is just going to get your dad here to get you out. Zhongling replied, Easy for you to say. Like my dad would leave the mountain, he wouldn't even take a step out of the valley. Xikong Swan did not reply to her last comment. Duan Yu offered, How about this? Why don't all of us go to Miss Zhong's home? Then you can ask your dad to cure the poison. Wouldn't that be fast and effective? No. My dad has sworn that if someone takes one step in my family valley, no matter who it is, only death awaits him. Xikong Swan thought to himself, The no-measure sword matter is not settled yet. I can't leave this place. If I did, it's not like the kid elder of Heaven Mountain would let me live. I would only die a lot worse of a death. By now, the itch and the numbness from the marten bite at the back of his head is getting worse and worse. He finally let out a few groans of pain. Zhongling said, Master Xikong, sorry about this. Xikong Swan angrily replied, Sorry my ass. Duan Yu cut in, Master Xikong, using such vulgar language towards Miss Zhong is not the conduct of a gentleman. What the hell? What the hell's wrong with this guy? Just making him madder and madder. Xikong Swan angrily rebuked, Your grandma wasn't one either. However, he thought to himself, When the life-death talisman in my body breaks out, the suffering is really unbearable. Better to die like this. At least it's straightforward and clear-cut. So he turned to Zhongling. I don't care about all the details. Don't invite your dad, for the cure is fine as well. We'll all just die together here. His words were filled with sadness and resignation. Zhongling thought about all of this for a bit and said, Let me out of here, and I'll write a letter to my dad asking him to come here and rescue you. And you send a person who is not afraid to die to deliver it. Xikong Swan responded, I want this fellow named Duan to go. Why send anyone else? Man, you got bad memory. If someone takes one step in my family valley, no matter whom it is, that person would die. Didn't I already tell you about this? I don't want my big brother Duan to die, don't you know? He can't die, then the people in my clan should. If he can't go, then don't go. Let's all die together. See which one of us dies first. So for some reason, her dad doesn't like any person's name Duan. Zhongling started to sob again. What kind of person are you? Bullying a little girl like me? People in the martial world will all find out about this, and they all will say that Master Xikong of the Divine Farmer clan has dragged his name through the dirt and is not a real man. Xikong Swan only sat there and worried about using his inner strength to combat the poison, completely ignoring her. Duan Yu spoke up. Then just let me go then. Miss Zhong, since I'm going to tell him the news and telling him to save you, I don't think he would do much harm to me. Zhongling's face suddenly lit up. I got it. Follow my plan. Don't tell my dad where I am. That way, if he kills you, then he wouldn't know where I am. Just leave as soon as you lead him here, or else it would not be good. Duan Yu nodded. This plan seems to work. Master Xikong, Big Brother Duan is going to leave as soon as he arrives. Master Xikong, Big Brother Duan is going to leave as soon as he arrives. So how are you going to give the cure for intestine fragmenter? Xikong Swan pointed to a huge rock far to the northwest. I'll instruct someone to wait there with the cure. When Mr. Duan gets to that rock, he'll get the cure. Since he wants Duan Yu to go and save his life, his words became considerably more polite. So he ordered his men to dig Zhongling out. But first they handcuffed her hands and then dug out her lower body. Zhongling asked, If you don't take the cuffs off, how can I write a letter? A weird girl like you, writing a letter probably would lead to more tricks. Just give Mr. Duan something on you. That proves that his words are true, and that would do. Zhongling laughed and said, I hate writing, so happy to hear that you don't want me to write. What do I have on me? Big brother Duan, take the pair of shoes that I have on. My mom and dad will recognize those. Duan Yu nodded and bent down to take off her shoes. As his left hand held her bare foot, feeling its fine skin and smoothness, his heart shook, and he couldn't help but look up at her face. They smiled at each other. Under the firelight, he sees that there are still tears on her cheeks, and yet her eyes are filled with happiness. He was spellbound. Uh-oh. Si Kong Swan is getting a little impatient, so he shouts, "Go already! What are you two kids doing staring at each other? Brother Duan, get done with it already. When you get the person here, then of course I would let the girl go, so she can be your wife, then you'll have plenty of time to feel her foot." Duan Yu and Zhongling both blushed like crazy. Duan Yu hurriedly took of Zhongling's shoes and put them in his shirt, but he still can't refrain from taking another look at Zhongling. At this, Zhongling let out a coquettish laugh. Si Kong Swan spoke up again. "Brother Duan, please go and come quickly. All of our lives is in your hand. If there is some holdup, then none of us will live. Miss Zhong, how long does it take to get to your dad's place?" Zhongling answered, 2 days if he hurries. I would say he would be back in 4 days at the most. "Then go quickly." Zhongling spoke up. "I'm going to tell Big Brother Duan how to go. All of you, get away. I don't want any of you listening in." Si Kong Swan waved his hands and all the clan members walked away. Zhongling added, "You too." Si Kong Swan thought to himself, "Once I'm cured, if I don't show you little baby a little something, then Si Kong Swan has mistaken himself for a man." But he got up and walked off. Zhongling sighed. "Big Brother Duan, we have only met today, and already we have to be separated. It's only for 4 days. It's no big deal, really." Zhongling stared at Duan Yu with the two big eyes of hers for a while. Finally, she said, "First, go see my mom, tell her about the situation, and let her go talk to my dad. This way, it'll be much easier." She then drew out directions to her home on the ground with her feet. As it turns out, Zhongling lives in a valley on the west shore of the Lantang River, not very far away. It is very well hidden, and the entrance has several traps, switches, and secret codes. Without specific directions, it is very hard to find and enter the valley. Duan Yu always had a good memory and easily memorized all the directions that Zhongling gave him. After she finished, he said, "All right, I'm going now." He turned around and started to walk. After about 10 steps or so, Zhongling suddenly remembered something and called out, "Hey, come back here." "What?" "Don't say that your surname is Duan, and especially don't say that your dad knows one young finger. Because my dad might start getting ideas." Duan Yu smiled and thought that this little girl is just worrying too much, but it is all in good intentions towards him. So he just said, "All right," as he turned and walked off. Boom! Done. Define coquettish. Coquettish means like flirtatiously, like she's smiling or laughing flirtatiously. Coquettish. Behaving in such a way as to suggest a playful sexual attraction, flirtatious. And we're done with the first chapter. How do you guys like it? Did you guys like it? That was a good chapter, right? No? I like that. And we got to meet Duan Yu. He is one of the main characters. Oh, should I have said that? I think we know, right? Yeah, he's one of the main characters. Do, 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 do. All right, let me get a drink. I have to sing karaoke. Oh God! All right, what do I have to sing? Okay. You like it? Awesome. You're looking forward to the story? Awesome. Nice. This is a very good story, actually. It's a very epic story. Very long and epic story. Correct. Yeah, the Lightning Martin is the real MVP. All right, karaoke time. You get one song because I couldn't define one word. What was the word that I couldn't define? It was such a weird word. Fulstrum. So this thing is a fulstrum. Cheers.